demand process. So there are three elements to the demand process. The first one is demand plan. What should we do to shape and create the demand? हमें क्या करना चाहिए? What should be our product offering? उसकी pricing क्या होनी चाहिए? How should we promote it? Which locations? क्या हमारे channels होने चाहिए? Right? So how do we shape that and create that demand? That is essentially the starting point of demand planning process. Then comes the second step of demand forecasting. What should we expect demand to be? कितना होना चाहिए? And it could be across strategic levels, for next 3 years, next 5 years, those kind of cases. It could be at tactical levels for few weeks or months, and operational levels, which is uh, uh, involving day-to-day operations. So what should be the demand? And it considers both external as well as internal factors. Then the third key element is demand management. So how do we prepare and act when demand materializes? So there is an order that comes in, there is a demand that is actually coming in. How do we balance demand and supply? And for that, various organizations have this S&OP process, which is sales and operations planning, which is essentially against, managing that demand. So you start up with the demand planning, you create your product offering, you create pricing, promotions, channels, and things like that. Second one is you start estimating basis all these things, basis all internal factors, external factors, your internal production capabilities, your external competitors, and things like that. What is going to be your demand exactly in terms of numbers, right? And where is it coming from which channel, from which geography, or which SKU it's going to come from, right? And then once that demand is there, how do we fulfill that demand? And that is called demand management. So very important thing that we break this demand process into three parts: demand planning, demand forecasting, and demand management. So typically this demand planning process, starts from the marketing side of the business, gets into the sales process. But nowadays, supply chains are getting involved into this, even in product development, even in, whenever there are promotions or seasonal demands, channels, supply chain plays an important role over there. Of course, demand forecasting, it's a collaborative effort between marketing and supply chains. And finally, demand management is more to do with supply chain management. How do we actually balance supply with demand?